Michael Douse, the director of publishing at Larian Studios, the developer that created Baldur's Gate 3, absolutely bodied Ubisoft following rumors that the company had to disband its development team that produced Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. You can find the link in the description below if you'd like to read for yourself. You can also find a link to become a member of the channel here and help support us in what we are doing in exposing woke ideology and opposing it. So let's get to this right here. So if you don't know, Ubisoft, or it's rumored that Ubisoft disbanded its team at Ubisoft Montpellier that worked on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. The rumor originated from French YouTube channel Origami, whose host declared this: in recent days at Ubisoft Montpellier, we are transporting boxes from one floor to another, and it is quite a symbol because it is that of dissolution, not announced to the public, but completed of the team Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, basically saying that they saw people, or he's been informed of people moving boxes from one floor to another. And he was told that that means that they have disbanded the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown development team. He went on to share that the decision to disband the team was made shortly after the game released at the beginning of the year. It was released on January 18, 2024 to Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. He said it was clear in the spring, in fact, a few patches of DLC, and we are packing up. While Ubisoft management had made the decision to move on from the game shortly after it was released, the host claimed that some members of the core development team fought for 2 DLCs in an attempt to change the minds of management. However, Ubisoft management was unconvinced, especially given the game's sales were below expectations. Instead, they wanted to reallocate the team to more potentially lucrative projects. Furthermore, the team was told that if they were to release a sequel, it could cannibalize long-term sales of the first game, which I'm not really sure if that makes any sense. I think there might be some crosshairs happening there. Maybe they were talking about a potential other Prince of Persia game that it could have cannibalized those sales, etc. Because we know they have a couple of these that have kind of come out in the last year or so. So this is what Douse had to say in response to coverage of this team allegedly being disbanded by PC Gamer. He wrote this on X. He says the last notable game on their platform, Ubisoft's platform, was arguably Far Cry 6 in 2021. The Crew, Mirage, and Avatar came in 2023 and didn't perform. So you can assume subscriptions were at a lull when Prince of Persia released by 2024. Which means people wouldn't be launching their store all too much. If it had released on Steam, not only would it have been a market success, but there would likely be a sequel because the team are so strong. It's such a broken strategy. The hardest thing is to make a 85+ game. It is much, much easier to release one. It just shouldn't be done as it was. So I actually disagree with him about it being successful on Steam, and we'll look at some data to show that because it has been released on Steam and it doesn't look like it is all that successful. I think this game was probably going to be a loser to begin with. But this is where he absolutely torches Ubisoft, though. So in a subsequent post, he actually references what Ubisoft's director of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, had to say back in January, specifically the fact that he said gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. And this is what Tremblay said. He said, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Obviously, this was all a bunch of bunk because Ubisoft literally started deleting files for the Crew and made it inaccessible to actually play the game completely. They did that this year. Anyways, that's what this guy was saying. And then Douse uses his own words to absolutely torch him. And he wrote this: if the statement "gamers should get used to not owning their games" is true because of a specific release strategy, sub above sales, obviously trying to drive subscriptions to Ubisoft Plus is what he's referring to here, then the statement "developers must get used to not having jobs if they make a critically acclaimed game, platform strategy above title sales" is also true. And that just isn't sensible, even from a business perspective. So obviously, just absolutely roasting him, kind of throwing Ubisoft's words back at them. If you think gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games, then developers need to get used to not having jobs, even if they make a critically acclaimed game. Because if the gamers aren't purchasing it, then you're not be able to fund your studio anymore, despite how well the game is praised over by reviewers. So just absolutely just destroying Ubisoft here. But I do want to criticize Douse a little bit because, like I said, I do not think that his claim that the game would have been a market success if it happened to release on Steam back in January, along with being released on Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, because this game was released onto Steam in August, the middle of August. You can see right here at these Steam player charts, it only hit 1,446 peak concurrent players all time. The last 24 hours, it just did 119. And then you can see here that as of right now, it is still just 1,400 in top sellers. And it is getting like positive reviews, right? 83.95% positive reviews. They're saying it's sold between 40 and 54,000. Not sure how accurate those numbers are, but those obviously are the estimates. And then you can see right here, Twitch stats, 51,000 all-time peak in the last 24 hours, 28. So despite whatever, however you think the quality of this game is, I haven't played it, don't plan on playing it. I'm not really into platformers like this game, but I think you can see here that I don't think even if it was released on Steam in January, it would have been a success. I probably would have done just similar to what we see here, because we see games that do get releases to Steam post being released on PlayStation or Xbox, etc., whatever, and they seem to do well. Here's an example of that. You can hop over to SteamDB here, and you can see Ghost of Tsushima. It released 5 months ago, peak concurrent of 77,154 all time. That is excellent, and we're still seeing 24-hour peak of 4,280. Again, single player game, looking really solid here. Obviously, kind of trending down, but that's what you expect, right? But still 77,000 peak when it released to Steam. So just because you happen to release it on Steam later doesn't mean you aren't going to find success. And I think obviously releasing on Steam day and date is when you release on other platforms, I think probably would lead to more success. I don't think that it necessarily means that it would be a market success in general, as Michael Douse is asserting in his post over here. But let me know what you guys make of what Michael Douse had to say here. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always speak the truth.